So I decided to prepare this game to show you. It's my game, played actually here at the chess club in one of my latest tournaments here, the Spring Classic Tournament, which I managed to win and in May. And this is the game against Grandmaster from Argentina, Mareco, 2650 or 60 rating, and I'm playing with the black pieces here. d4, d5, c4, e6. So right away we know the opening, right? What opening is this? Yes?
Queen's Gambit declined.
Queen's Gambit declined. So knight f3, knight f6, g3. In that tournament, Jeffrey Chong as well played this g3 move against me. So I had 2 games this opening in the same tournament. So I played bishop b4 check. I like playing this move, forcing bishop d2, and then go back to e7. The point of this idea, bishop b4 check, bishop d2, bishop goes back to e7, is the bishop is on d2 is misplaced. So that's why I cannot do anything. So now bishop g2, castles, castles, knight bd7. It's more accurate to start out with knight bd7 because in some point, like if you play a move like knight c3, I might be able just to capture the pawn and just try to defend it. That gives you that extra option of knight goes to b6 instead of playing c6 here. So c6 is a move here as well, but knight bd7 is a more precise move. So he played the move queen c2, knight e4. This is a new idea. Usually black plays the move c6 here, but knight e4, activating the bishop and putting pressure on d2. If you take a bishop, that will be good. I mean, you have the pair of the bishop, so bishop f4 is logical. c6, knight c3. This position has been played several times. It's very fashionable nowadays. Knight bd2 was played by Pavel Elianov, a strong Ukrainian grandmaster. So I think in the game against Carlsen, g5, bishop e3, knight d6 was played. And the point of the knight goes back on f5 and takes the bishop. Carlsen won that game. So bishop on e3 is misplaced because of that. So that's why knight c3 is a better move. g5, anyway, it looks a bit, more aggressive than it should be, but it's interesting setup. So bishop c1. So this position was also played in a US championship this year between Wesley So and Hikaru Nakamura, and there were some other games played. Black gets to push the pawn g5, f5, but it's hard to say whether or not this, because it could be also weak. This pawns could be also weak, so you cannot push. When you push the pawns forward, they create weaknesses. So my opponent played b3. Now he just wants to develop the bishop on b2. I play b6 to develop my bishop. And knight d2 is the move that I didn't quite expect. I was expecting more. When opponent plays b3, normally you just put the bishop on b2. But here he played knight d2. Interesting idea. At some point he wants to play f3. Also, I have to calculate the capture, and then f3. So I have to calculate a lot of things here. And I didn't like the fact that he can take my knight and have some f3 ideas there. So I decided to take myself. Knight takes c3, queen takes c3, knight f6. We exchange one pair of knights. I still have the control of the e4 square, which is very important in this kind of structures. And now I'm planning to play the move bishop d7. My opponent played bishop b2, and I played bishop d7. Developing. Yes?
Why don't you want to put the bishop on b7?
Because I worry about e6 being weak. So that's the main reason. And now he played the move rook ac1, but he was very unhappy afterwards when we were analyzing the game. And basically for the rest of the game, he was not happy about his position because now I have a very strong move that he missed. And he should have done something better. because now this move is gonna make one of his pieces very bad for the rest of the game. Let's see if you can find the move that I'm talking about. Black to play. What is the strong move here to get the initiative here? Immediately after this move, I felt good about my position, and the rest of the game was pretty smooth. And he was not happy and not comfortable because of this move.
C5 pawn.
C5 pawn. You don't really want to play C5 because it will open up the diagonal. See, he has a queen and a bishop here, and he will take DC and open up everything here. So you don't want to, in this kind of positions, you want to keep it closed. You don't necessarily want to open the position when opponent has two fianchettos, right? When he has the fianchettos, we don't want to open the position. So we want to keep it closed. That way his bishops are going to be less effective. Again, it's a restricting move. You're trying to restrict one of his pieces here.
What about A5?
But what does A5 do? What piece is it restricting? B5, A5, they're more like you're trying to grab space. But here it's all about trying to restrict that particular piece to achieve his goal.
Oh, G4.
Bravo, correct. G4, exclamation mark. It stops the knight from coming to F3 ever, and then he's going to have a hard time getting on E5. Imagine to get here now, he has to make so many moves. Knight B1, knight A3, knight C2, knight D1, knight D3 to reach here. He has to make 5 moves to get there. So, one careless move here. He should have played knight F3 here. One careless move here, and after G4, I felt more comfortable. Position is still fairly equal here, but I felt more comfortable about my chances here. Now he played F3. Now he played F3, putting pressure a little bit. And now I knew that he's trying to play the move E4 at some point. So what do we do now?
H5.
Absolutely H5. So if he captures, we can take back with a pawn. He cannot play E4 here because we can take on F3 and attack the bishop. So something like this is not going to be good because we just take, hitting the bishop. Bishop captures, we can take on E4. So it's not good. So we play bishop to H1. I think he's so focused about playing this E4 that, you know, perhaps he didn't make the best decisions here to that. And now
Knight H7. With the idea that it can go to G5 or.
well, he's gonna play E4 though. I mean, if you move the knight to H7,
Yeah, that's true.
how are you gonna deal with this then? This actually could work out now well for him because, let's say you take, he can take, and I mean he just D5 is hanging, H5 is hanging, everything is hanging.
Okay, got it.
So the knight has to stay there. You know. A5? It is an option. I don't know if, you know, he will just play A3 and prevent your bishop before idea. Usually this kind of moves you have to think, you know, you push, they will see something that you're threatening, so they will try to prevent you. How are you going to try to deal with this E4 move? Because E4 is coming. We need to do something, guys, to loosen him up a little bit, you know, so that get that king a little bit more loosened here, no?
H4.
Absolutely correct. H4, yes. Absolutely, because now you're threatening to take on G3. Weaken his position. And if he takes, for example, you can play the move bishop D6. And that's not looking too good for him on H2, and his king is very exposed. So he played the move queen D3. He didn't want to take. Once again, I want to point out, if you take here, I could play the move bishop D6, and the king is very, very weak here, and H4 pawn likely to fall soon. So he played.
He just tried to close it with instead.
You're gonna see that's what happened. That's what happened. You're gonna see like in few moves.
Okay. Yeah.
So bishop D3. So we loosen him up, right? And now which piece is not active that we can activate here?
E7 bishop.
Absolutely, but first rook f7.
Okay.
That is also not an active piece here, right? So I want to be able to reroute him, okay? And also I do this because in some cases, if he jumps in here, I don't want him to check me and force me to go to h8. That's dangerous. You can get mated on h8. Here, if he checks me ever, I'm going to have the move rook g7. Now, you'll see in this game, what I managed to achieve is his both bishops were really bad. And that's what really helped me in this game. So he played rook f2. And now, next few moves, I'm just trying to improve my pieces. Take first. So this was the final mistake for him, actually. His position is really critical after the move rook f2. Here, this was the last chance, to try to close the position. But, playing with the white pieces, you don't want to just admit you're worse, and play some position and just suffer to make a draw. Here, he is worse. I will play here, move up, triple up my rooks. I mean, I'm clearly better here. But he might be able to hold with some bishop g1, e3, rook e1, knight f1, some kind of defense he can do. So he should have done that. But he played rook f2, and this was an inaccurate move. Because of which move? It's very important you don't give opponent a second chance. Capture. Now, if knight captures, bishop captures, I always have knight e4. So he has to take back with this. And now, absolutely rook g7. You attack the pawn, threatening to take it. So he goes knight f1. And now we want to force him to play the move f4 because that will give our knight an excellent squares. So how you think you can force him to do that?
Bishop d6.
Bishop d6. Activating the bishop. f4 pawn you can, but then he plays g4 and the pressure will be gone, sort of. So this way you'd want to take. So he played the move f4. He could have played rook g2, but after knight h5, he's going to be forced to play f4 anyways. So he played after f4. And now, let's see. What is the idea here, you think?
Yeah, with knight g4, he can't bring his rook over to the...
Yeah, but the king needs to be moved first, right? To be able to put the rooks on a g file. So I start with king f7. He goes rook e1. And now look at this. Queen g8. Immediately putting pressure on this. I'm trying to move the rook up and then triple up. See, this is another moment here where you might be stuck because you don't see anything concrete. So that's where you have to pause and think to try to find an idea. An idea is right here. King f7, queen g8. Putting pressure on g3 because that's the target. This is why, he's basically tied up to this defense. So he played bishop c1 back. He's trying to move the rook away, but then always bishop f4. So that's the purpose of this move. And now I would like to put his rook on an uncomfortable square. So I play the move knight h5. Because now I have threats to take and also on f4. So he has to put the rook here, which he did. And now, you want to bring that rook on from a8 to the game, right? But you don't want to just put anywhere. You want to put it on a g file. So rook g6. I like this move because it protects e6, and now I can play queen g7 and put the rook on g8. That's what I like to do. So he goes here, rook e2, queen g7. Now putting pressure on d4 as well. Now he's got another problem here. d4 pawn is vulnerable. He goes here, and now you see. I have a lot of pressure on him. He's barely holding this on, but he cannot hold this position for too long. Complete domination here, so bishop g2. And now, the final idea. Let's see if you can find. So far, he's still holding it. I got 4 attackers on it, and he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 4 defenders on it. But he can change that. How?
Knight f6 followed by...
Excellent. Knight f6, now threatening to play knight e4 check and pick up the pawn on g3. He took. Now, what is your best recapture here?
If what now?
He took.
Oh. Recapture with the C pawn.
Of course, with the C pawn, so you have opportunities to go this way as well, okay? This will be good opportunities at some point to do that. So he goes queen a6. Knight belongs where? We know that, right? From general, we know knight belongs in the middle, of course. And here he resigned. He resigned because if he goes here, king e1, I actually can even take on d4. And if he goes here, this is interesting. If he goes here, because he's still holding everything, I can take on g3 and win. But I have another idea here.
Knight c3 followed by.
You could probably play knight c3, but what about the c file now? Can we do something on a c file?
Why not? Yeah.
If with something we land something on c3 here, would be quite good, no?
Oh yeah.
Rook c1, threatening rook c3. Technically, it's, you know,
Yeah.
if he takes, it's just a mate.
That's scary.
So he has to play something like bishop b2 to prevent that. And now, okay, we can just start capturing here and take and just winning the bishop. So yeah, after he played queen a6, knight e4, my opponent resigned, and it's quite happy actually to win a good game like this with the black pieces against such a strong opponent that, you know, normally you don't have so many chances with black. So this shows that, you know, the opening, you know, I got a decent position in the opening, but one moment he delayed to play knight f3, and that's it. He couldn't really do much after that. So let's do a little overview of this game. I want to make sure everybody who is sitting here remember the moves, okay? So, and that way you can review this one more time. Again, this is my game against Grandmaster Mareco from Argentina. So g4, you just have to say my moves, black moves.
d5.
c4.
e6.
So now we have again Queen's Gambit declined opening.
Knight f6.
As soon as g3 played, what is the name of this system that white is playing? Catalan. Catalan, yes?
Bishop b4 check.
This is forcing the bishop to come to d2. That's the whole point, to force the bishop to come to d2. Continue.
Bishop e7. Knight e4.
Don't rush.
Castle first.
Castle first. Safety. Be safety before you attack, remember, right?
Okay.
Safety before you attack.
Yeah.
Now.
Knight d7.
Excellent. Now you have some ideas to take on c4, right? Very good. Queen c2. And this is the new idea. Excellent, yes. Attacking here.
g5.
c6 first. g5 is actually a blunder because he can take.
Ouch.
If you take, you lose. So you have to be careful, okay? I mean, you lose material. And then if you take, he takes your queen, and this is not that great, okay? c6. So you have to be careful. But again, in g5, just tighten it up. Tighten it up the position first before you start that, okay? When you try to do an attack on a flank, you have to try on the side, you have to try to make sure your center is strong, okay? Center needs to be really solid when you do things on a flank. So you can't just, you know, have a loose center and try to do things on a flank. That's not going to be successful, okay? So c6, he goes here, and now Alex?
g5.
Now g5. Now center is solid. So maybe that game I mentioned was bishop e3, not knight b2, knight c3, bishop e3, knight d6, the Elianov Carlsen game. Bishop c1, and now when you play g5, you have to play the next move.
f5.
Absolutely. If you don't play f5, the whole g5 is just very bad. So you have to do that. b3.
b6.
Excellent. And now Mareco didn't play the bishop b2 move, which I knew. So he played knight d2. This surprised me a little bit. So I had to think a little bit to understand what's going on here. What is it trying to do?
Knight C3.
Knight C3, correct.
Knight F6.
Knight F6, bishop B2.
Bishop B7.
And
Oh,
if you're playing with the white pieces, which move you think you should play here?
Knight F3.
Absolutely. You gotta get that knight on e5, you know, because with the pawn on g5, there is no guarantee you're gonna have a chance to do that later. He would have loved to move this rook back and do that. But when you make a move, you miss something, then it's very hard. So here, a very important move here to make sure that knight stays passive for the rest of the game here is
G4.
absolutely g4. So my strategy of pushing pawns is not that common. You know, oftentimes it's actually not good. But here, I just have so much space, and that knight just looks really bad on d2. He needs a lot of moves. I like this idea because I can also play h5, h4, and put pressure. So that's what I like this for. So he played f3,
H5.
h5, bishop h1,
H4.
h4, going for the attack.
Yep.
To loosen up the position of opponent's king. Queen d3,
H takes.
h takes,
Rook F7.
absolutely. Rook f2. And this is the moment he had to play the move f4. So it's like twice in this game, you know, once he didn't play knight f3, and now he just told me he just didn't want to play a slightly worse position for the rest of the game. You know, he wanted to have some, but now very quickly he's going to regret it because he could have a similar position without all the g-file pressure that I have. And it would have been a lot harder for me to try to win. So when your position is worse, sometimes you have to admit it and live with it, you know. Just, you know, try to defend it. But he went here, and now
Capture.
capture,
And then Rook G7.
attack.
Knight H5.
Don't rush, don't rush, don't rush.
Oh, Bishop D6.
Bishop d6.
that's right.
Come on,
Yeah,
activate the bishop. Activate that bishop and put pressure on g3.
Yep.
Now he goes f4,
King F7.
king f7, getting that g8 for our queen.
Queen G8.
Queen g8. That's our target, right?
Rook G6. Was that right? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Rook f3,
G6.
rook g6. Lift up a little bit to protect g6. And now you want to do, what do you want to do now?
Queen G7.
Triple up. Triple up, okay? He goes here.
Rook G8.
Absolutely, rook g8. Now putting pressure on g3. Enormous pressure now for him. He cannot do anything here to hold this. So he goes bishop g2. And now, what you going to do now?
Put the knight on E4.
Absolutely. Knight f6, threatening knight e4 check. He took. I mean, he couldn't do anything. So that's why he just, you know, yeah, he could have played king g1, but knight e4, I win this pawn. Endgame is just lost because his pawns are just too weak. But this actually, it plays into my hand because now I have the bishop on b5 idea and rook on c8. So continue.
Queen. What he played?
Yeah.
He played Queen A6, and you played Knight E4, and that was
Check.
the story.
Now he has to go here.
And Rook C8.
Rook c8 attacking the bishop.
Rook C3.
Here,
Mate.
well, actually he resigned here.
Yeah.
Just to be officially, he resigned here. If he goes to e1, it's just I take on d4 and bishop b4 is just a mate. So rook c8, take, blends into a mate, and bishop b2. Just take this pawn. There might be other ways to win, but this just So that's the game against Mareco. Okay, very good. So that's the game. I have a lot more games to show at some point. Now I have one position for you. At the end of this lecture, I want to have one position for you to solve. If you know this position, please let me know. Okay, it's very obviously white is completely winning, but the goal here is not just to win. A winner, you can win this. The goal here is to win this position in 3 moves. I just like the idea so much. White to play, checkmate in 3. Yeah, it's very useful to do these positions because it shows you some new ideas that sometimes you don't know or maybe you forgot. So it was really nice, when I saw this. So let's think. You have to take advantage of the position of the king, yeah? That is not very good here. Try to see the entire solution, yeah? Try to have the entire solution. So if we have time, I have another one I can show you, okay? Queen E2. Here. That's 1. Looks like he escapes. Your idea would have worked, but it just escapes. You have to try to see what kind of moves he has. Black has 4 legal moves. Black has 4 legal moves, right? Two with the king. At the moment, he has 3 moves, but king move and the pawn moves he has. Normally, it's not a check first move. Just this in general, so you know. Normally, this position, if you start with the check, it will be too easy. Check, checkmate, yeah? It will be too easy.
Queen G1.
Queen G1, that's a deep idea. What's the plan?
Well, if C5, Queen G2 check.
Bravo. But
And
the problem is, I go here, and then there's no there's no mate in 2 here, unfortunately. Then
Yes, he escapes. Okay.
But against C5, that idea works. Yes. So I think you're getting closer, right? You're understanding that you need a queen move here. King is fine. You need to find the right square. Okay. You need to find the right square, and you're going to do it. It's your idea is going to work then if you find the right move. It's going to be exact same checkmate like you pointed out with Queen G2 check, Queen G5. But you just need the right square, so you have something to do when he plays E5. So when he plays E5,
Queen H7.
King C5, he escapes. Okay, you need to make a move that when I play King E5 or King A5, you have a mate in 1.
Yeah.
So make a move that when I move the king to C5 or E5, you have mate in 1. Queen D2.
Gosh darn it. That was the first move I looked at.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I just
So
dismissed
if he goes here now, what do you do?
Queen A5.
There you go. If he goes here, what are you going to do?
Queen G5.
There you go. So if he goes here, what are you going to do?
Queen G2.
Now we go back to Dan's idea, right? That's your mate then. And now if he plays here,
Queen H2.
now we go back to this idea.
Yeah.
Nice.
Got it?
Yeah.
The symmetry, yeah? You have to see the symmetry of the board, with this move. With this move, Queen D2, that's exactly what you're going to achieve, You're going to be able to achieve that symmetry. If he goes to G5, you go Queen G5 mate. If he goes to C5, you go Queen A5 mate. If he pushes the C pawn, Queen G2, Queen G5 mate. So once again, if he plays c5, let's do this one more time, okay? So let's go from beginning. What's the first move?
Queen d2.
So if he goes here,
Queen g5.
checkmate. If he goes here,
Queen a5.
checkmate. So if he goes here,
Queen g2. And queen.
checkmate. If he goes here,
Queen a2.
checkmate. That's the idea, okay?
It's beautiful.
So it's just really beautiful idea, and it shows how this symmetry will work, okay? So that's the key to understand. And remember, if you know this idea that the symmetry will work, so you'll be able to solve a lot more positions, okay?
Mhm.
So that's